Means it's time to talk to the voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, who joins us Thursdays at 8:20, presented by our good friends of Volunteer Traditions and Two Rivers Ford, Tennessee and Kentucky from Lexington, under the lights this Saturday night. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm fine. Thank you.
Mike, there have been a lot of really good Tennessee teams that have played some really close games in Lexington, Kentucky. Ramon Foster was a part of one that clinched the SEC East on a very cold night. I saw a post on social media this week that said, Texas, you're officially an SEC team now that you've had to sweat out a game in Lexington. Despite the record, despite everything that has gone on with Kentucky football over the past two seasons specifically, Mike, this is a challenge. What about this specific Kentucky team will make this specific game a challenge on Saturday night?
Two things, Will. First of all, Brad White's a really good defensive coordinator. He's been there for 7 years, so he's been there the entire time Josh Heupel has been Tennessee's head coach. He knows this offense, and so that gives him some advantage over other people who've maybe seen it once or twice. He's experienced it multiple times with multiple people, and he's had hard times with it. He's given up some big plays at times, but at other times too, like last year, he contained Tennessee to a certain extent. What they did last week against Texas gained 179 yards in that game, 179. And so you just understand they're going to come play ball. You know, they've got some guys on defense who can make some things happen. They're always physical in the secondary. They always tackle. And so that's going to give Kentucky a chance in any game that they play, because when you show up and play like that, you can knock somebody loose of a ball. You can tip a ball up in the air and run it back for a score. I mean, things like that can happen when you have one side of the ball that's fundamentally strong. And on the other side of the ball, what they got is they got the best performance to date from Cutter Boley in the passing game. And so suddenly Kentucky had the ability to do some things other than just running the football. Now, they didn't finish drives, and they didn't score a lot of points, and they gave up too many sacks, but that was certainly more on track with what they had hoped to be. So I think that's the danger in playing this Kentucky team, is this freshman quarterback's getting better. They have running backs, and they always have a competent defense. And they do again. So I think you understand the challenge is you may be going up and playing a team that is on the rise, that you always have to hit your head against the wall when you're playing against them, if you're Tennessee especially.
Voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, our guest this morning. And, Mike, it's interesting when you look at the Kentucky defense, in terms of total rushing yards allowed, they don't look great. But then you look at yards per carry, and all of a sudden you see a little bit of a different story, Mike, because they've been down in so many games late that teams are just, by nature, running the football more, and
right.
you see more attempts, right? That challenge this week feels like kind of where you begin to evaluate the matchup, Tennessee offense versus Kentucky defense. And, Mike, Tennessee's coming out of a game against Alabama where they did some good things in terms of yards per carry. That challenge for Joey Aguilar in running against maybe heavier boxes, how big of a challenge is that for Tennessee right now? Or maybe the numbers will tell you, hey, throw the run solution, throw the screen, but also, hey, you kind of got to ride the hot hand at times as well and let Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis and those guys continue to stay hot.
Yes.
Perfect.
I didn't really want in there, Will.
Poorly framed by me,
I agree with every bit of it. So, yes. I mean, I think for Tennessee, they've got to do what they do. But at the same time, I think your point is dead on, and that is because teams have not feared Kentucky's ability to score, they've just run the ball and run the clock out more or less. You know, running the ball is always safer. And so they've just continued to pound it and tried to get out of there without a turnover, knowing that Kentucky's only shot to get back in a game was to score on defense. So, yeah, that's exactly what you've seen. For Tennessee, you still want to run the football. You still want to keep that sort of balance. You still want to have the play action. But sure, I mean, do you have to go into it thinking maybe we run to or maybe we pass to set up the run in this case, and maybe the pass game is some quick stuff to take advantage of your speed advantage on the outside? Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that could very well be. And you just when you play against a solid defense, which Kentucky has every year, you don't want to be pig-headed. You understand you're going to have to do some things that are maybe toward what they want you to do. They're going to set it up and they're going to say, okay, you can do this. Let's see if you're willing to do it. I think you've got to take what they give you and hopefully put yourself in a position like other teams that you're playing from in front, because their defense is ahead of their offense, although it does appear their offense is improving.
No doubt about it.
It probably would have helped if I'd asked a question there. So that was
okay. I got it.
Thank you.
Mike's such a pro.
Absolutely.
I do the same things, okay? All right, to Mike from time to time. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing fine, Ramon. How are you? It's good to be with you.
We're good, my friend.
We're excited, Ramon, just to share this. We're going to announce our basketball announce team this afternoon, so we're really excited.
Oh, let's go!
Fantastic.
We were gonna do it yesterday or the day before, but something else came up. You might have heard.
Just there was some rumblings and some talks and stuff like that. Well, I'm sure we'll ask you about that in a second if you don't mind waiting on that one too. Not the announcement, but the baseball.
Whatever you want to ask.
Oh, okay. Well, can I borrow $20?
Just ask something, unlike my stupid soliloquy a minute ago.
I'm gonna carry on there, Mike. This is 2 weeks.
Hang on.
We're good.
$20 out here.
Can I?
Yes, now I'm 20 to the good, Mike. There we go.
There you are.
20 to the good. With that being said, night games to the good's got to be in the Vols' favor. Go to Tuscaloosa. They're on the back end of a loss from Alabama. Then you also go to Lexington. And I won't disparage what Kentucky is. It's a night game in the SEC against another rival. Where have you seen this team this week as far as the concentration of bouncing back? Because there was a lot of heartbreak in Tuscaloosa with how it unfolded when you look at it. Have you seen this team somewhat respond over the course of practice for what Lexington is? Because they played Texas tight, and they've played Ole Miss tight. This isn't a just kick the can down the road type of team. Mike, how have you seen the Vols be this week in preparation for Lexington?
What I've seen's been sharp. What I watched yesterday was sharp. Today is their lighter day, and then Friday they go faster. They're one of those teams that kind of reverses the Thursday and Friday because they want some speed on Friday. And what I saw yesterday in practice, I thought was sharp. There was physicality. I think the good thing for Tennessee in all of this is that Kentucky did play Texas so well. I think that gets your attention.
Yeah.
And when you watch the game, and I don't mean to demean our listeners who follow the Longhorns, if you had played that game and not told the records of the two teams, except in numbers, in other words, had you not said Texas is 4-2 and Kentucky's 2-3, you would have thought Texas was the team with the losing record and Kentucky was the team with the winning record because Kentucky outplayed them so. And so, as a former player, Ramon, when you see a tape like that, it gets your attention. Our players know who Texas is. They understand all of the buildup. Maybe Texas hasn't had the year they were supposed to have, but they're Texas. And they went in there and they were very lucky to get out of there with a win. And so I think that's the part of it that helps Tennessee to get over the Alabama thing, is because they understand. I mean, if they go in there and mope around, they get beat. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. If you go in and, play like Texas did this week, especially with this being the heightened rivalry it is, they beat you. And that's the understanding of the SEC, the understanding of rivalries, and also with respect to Kentucky.
Yeah. Mike, I want to ask you another question that's non-sport but sports related, because it'll lead to I'll pass it over to Will after this from the baseball side of it. Mike, when you look at Danny White, and he's received a lot of heat on social media, and I know it's not real from time to time, But what has he meant to this university and how he's managed it and gone about dealing with coaches, big decisions, money making, and just a standard? I'll be quite honest with you that I don't know if we've seen in my era with the ADs that I had at Tennessee from 2004 to 2008 in a very long time, as he's taken a lot of heat lately. I don't want to carry any water for him, but I think it's been a lot of hot takes about a guy and one decision that was probably above his head.
Well, I mean, this is a difficult situation because you have a lot of things at play here. First of all, Tony Vitello won a national championship. I mean, that's as successful as you can get in college baseball to win the College World Series. He won a lot of games. He packed the stadium. They're building a new stadium. Right now, they're finishing up what is an amazing transformation of Lindsey Nelson Stadium into what is, in essence, a new stadium, a facility that's crazy. The budget has gone up 5 times since Tony Vitello got here. In other words, it was $3 million and now it's close to 14, 15 million. When I did baseball here in the 90s, you'd have 500 for a midweek game. Now you can't get a ticket for a midweek game. Now you've got scrimmages in cities outside of Nashville in the fall, and people show up for the scrimmages, 4,500 people in Chattanooga. Tony Vitello also has endeared himself to the fan base because he was at the basketball games, the lady ball games, the football games on the sidelines. He took every picture with the kid. He showed up for charities, and he genuinely liked being at Tennessee. And from that standpoint, he goes beyond just being a successful coach. I mean, he was a transformational personality. Everybody in the community knew him. Even if you didn't know anything about baseball, you knew who Tony Vitello is. And so you've lost a star. And that is very, very hard, even to accept it on the face value of, oh, by the way, he's becoming the big league manager with the San Francisco Giants, and this has never been done before. So you have all of that hanging over you. People are disappointed. They're disappointed about the Alabama result, too. So, yes, it was the wrong time to have this hit overall. And now you've got to make the type of decision that Danny White has been forced to make over the 5 years here on more than one occasion. And that is, how do you keep Tennessee baseball at this level for the next 5 to 10 years and beyond? Because with the resources that you've committed, the only way it really works is if you keep winning. So he's got to make a decision on a next coach, not just based on 2026. He's got to think about what it looks like in 2031 and 2036. And he's had to do that with women's basketball. He's had to do that in football when he brought Josh Heupel in, and with a lot of the financial decisions that he's made about football, with NIL, with everything that goes with it. This is one of those moments where he earns his money, and most of us are very glad we're not in that seat.
Right.
Because the call is for Josh Elander, who's wildly popular and is very good at his job. And if he's selected, he will make total sense. But Danny White has to say, is he the best for Tennessee at this moment and for the next 5 to 10 years? Because there's going to be a full process, if Josh Elander is selected, it strengthens him. It strengthens him because it says, we looked around the country and we realized our own guy was right here. So that's a good thing. But if you go in another direction, then there going to be some people, particularly people with the program, former players, who are not happy. So, I mean, this is a big moment, and it's on Danny White largely, and that's a tough place to be. I would not want to be in his shoes.
Mike, it's incredible. Anytime I've had the chance to call a baseball game at Tennessee or interact with Tony, you end up talking more about movies or football or basketball or anything else, and then you kind of get to the baseball. Like, his personality is so big, and he is such a college type of coach, right? And just the way he interacts with people, and his dad being a high school coach for so long, no doubt plays a role in that. Just spending time around him the way that you have and getting to know him over the last couple of months, what interests you about his fit now as a major league manager? And how do you think Tony Vitello attacks a 162-game marathon that's going to be a very different challenge from a 50 to 60 game sprint of college baseball?
Well, I think there are a couple things. First of all, I think the fact that Major League Baseball teams are run almost by committee now, with all of the analytics experts and the minor league experts and the training experts and the pitching experts. I mean, they sit down and provide data. Tony's always been really good about using everyone's expertise. Frank Anderson and Ross Kivett and obviously Josh Elander and Quentin Eberhard, who is the strength and conditioning coach. He never felt like he had to do it all, and he never did it all. He managed. And so that's what he'll do at the big league level. He will manage, and that's where it will be a good fit. The obvious questions are, how do you handle big leaguers? Because these are grown men. Mm-hmm. And then how do you handle how long it is? Because pulling a guy, when he's got a no-hitter going on May the 5th seems crazy to a lot of people, especially those of us who grew up with baseball. But they play for a much bigger picture now with the health of the player, the long-term effect of the player, the long-term effect of the season. This is different. I mean, you're in a game where you've got to beat Vanderbilt or Alabama to win the series, knowing there's a tiebreaker involved, is very different than how you'll manage a game on June the 23rd, regardless of what's going on. And that may go against his competitive nature. You want to win, but you also understand there's a bigger picture. So I think that part of it is going to be a challenge for him to get his mind around, as it would be for anybody leaving the college game to the pro game. Very different.
Well, Mike, you've got a marathon of your own that's about to start with basketball season beginning with football season. What's this next month going to be like? What's the process been like, kind of preparing for Rick Barnes and men's basketball getting started, while also understanding there's a lot of football left to be played as well?
It's fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I like to work. So I get to go to ball practices and talk about ball and be around another sport and, understand what the basketball program has a chance to be here at Tennessee this year. So, it's been a tremendous amount of fun. Obviously, it's tremendously fun, too, preparing for Duke, understanding that they are, ironically, they're a team, they returned no starters from last year. Cooper Flagg obviously just made his NBA debut with Dallas, and yet they're picked very highly because of Cameron Boozer and his brother and the other freshmen, and then the transfers that they brought in. That they're picked to win the ACC, even though they lost 5 starters from a 35-4 Final Four team. So we'll see that Sunday night. I'm elated to have the opportunity, and a lot of the planning stuff with the job part of it is not fabulous right now. Having a bunch of meetings and, writing notes and, the non-sports part of it, that's not great. But once we get it up and get it running, I think we'll be okay.
Mike, where do we need to be tuned in today to hear the announcement on Basketball Analyst?
Well, I would just recommend that you join us at the Tennessee Athletics YouTube site for the Mike Keith Show this afternoon at 2:00. We'll talk all about it and discuss, obviously, some of the Vitello history here and what comes next for the Vols in this search, which I think is, like I said, I work for the athletic department, but I don't know everybody involved. I'm a new guy. So it's going to be interesting to see which way Danny White chooses to go here, because it's a program people are very passionate about now. They weren't always. They weren't when Tony Vitello got here 8 years ago. So to see it the way it is right now, in some ways, for somebody who loves Tennessee baseball, it's crazy good to see people this passionate. I'm just glad I'm not having to make the call because, man, it's not going to be easy. Maybe a candidate in the process makes it very obvious for him, and if that's the case, that's great.
Love it. Tennessee Athletics YouTube channel. Subscribe while you're there, too, like Mike told you last week.
We love that.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It helps my family. So.
We love having voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, with us on Thursday mornings here on the show. Mike, thank you. Appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
Yes, have a good one, Mike.
Voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, with us this morning. Helps his family.
I didn't know he was making this announcement today.
Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Whom's
is to say? We'll find out today.
Is to say.
2:00. Tennessee Athletics YouTube.
That's big time.
Coming up, Thursday Night Football. Interesting tonight. We'll dive into some of the headlines on that front coming up next.